Welcome to another Business Matters program with me, Anwar Mullah. Yes, if it's Monday night, then it's Business Matters. Just gone 12 minutes past 7, and we're going to be having a studio guest tonight who's going to be talking to us about Takaful and the concept of Takaful and how it's different to normal insurance. And we hope to leave this program properly enriched on the issues around Takaful and how we can benefit from Takaful. I'm going to have Sedick speaking to us about that. Also later in the program, I have two lovely guests that are joining me in the studio. There's Tom, who hails from many parts of the world, lived many years in America, Taiwan, now living in China. And he's going to be talking to us about his experiences in South Africa, having toured the country for the last 2 weeks or so. We all get negative about South Africa. Tom, who arrived in Durban earlier this evening, is quite contrary to that. He's very positive about South Africa from many aspects, including economic. And he's going to be joining us and telling us a little bit about his thoughts on South Africa. We're also going to have in the studio Virginia. Virginia hails from France, from a city called Lyon. She also has been in South Africa for a short while. And again, she's going to be sharing her experiences with us. So I'm looking forward to that slightly later in the program. But I'm going to start off by saying welcome to my guest for tonight, my telephonic guest. And his name is Sedick Ishaq. Sedick, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Radio Al-Ansar.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sedick, which part of the country are you joining us from?
I'm in Johannesburg at the moment.
Are you in Johannesburg? Okay, Zakaria, I'm getting a bit of studio interference. If you want to just lift that sound a bit, so I can hear Sedick a bit better. Sedick, I think that's that. Sedick, you with a company called Bryte Takaful. Bryte Takaful. I think I'd be safe in saying Bryte has been one of the earliest introducers of the concept of Takaful in South Africa.
To be honest with you, no, not strictly speaking. Bryte Takaful took over the Takaful insurance in 2015, and Takaful has been in South Africa since 2002-2003 with various with one or two different companies prior to Bryte, and started by a group of people who are still today in the Takaful insurance side of the business, but it was started prior to Bryte, definitely prior to Bryte, yeah.
Okay, Sedick, it was a bit noisy on the line. It seemed like either you were in a war zone or somebody was playing some video games with guns around you. But our studio technician Zakaria seems to have sorted that program out, so I can hear you loud and clear now. You mentioned Bryte in South Africa since 2015. Your relationship with Bryte Takaful, have you been with them since inception or joined them more recently?
No, I've been with Bryte for about 12 years and part of the inception of the Takaful with Bryte. But as I say, it definitely started prior to Bryte. With one or two other companies and some people that were the founders of Takaful in South Africa, wide of Bryte and Zurich Insurance Company.
And your background in terms of your early life and your education?
So I've been in insurance, the general side of insurance since 1984, and worked for a couple of insurance companies, and over the last sort of 8 years, I've gotten involved in the Takaful side, and now I head up the Takaful operations for Bryte Takaful. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to explore the concept of Takaful more fully. Bryte, the name somehow is synonymous with the Takaful concept in South Africa, and I know there are other reinsurers around the world. And I'm going to quiz you a bit about the concept of a reinsurer. But let's just start with Takaful. Loosely translated, we know it as insurance. But how does Takaful kind of differ from what we would know as conventional insurance?
Yeah, so there's a definite difference between the two. And some of the main differences and the key difference is that, first and foremost, participants we refer to people as participants and members and not as insureds. For the simple reason is that the whole family of Takaful is where there's a plan to share the risks and the rewards of the benefits of being compensated. Whereas in conventional life insurance, the insurer controls, shoulders all the risks, and the rewards end up only with the insurer. Whereas in Takaful, the rewards end up with the participants rather than the insurer. So on the conventional insurance side, it's based on the concept and the practice of charging interest or earning interest. On the Islamic insurance, on the other hand, is based on what is referred to as tabarru, where a portion of the contributions made by the participants is treated almost as a donation or more like a donation. And this is why the policyholders in Takaful are referred to as participants. It operates using different models, whereas a conventional insurer uses one model, and that is the income is owned by the insurer, the profits are owned by the insurer, any surpluses are owned by the insurer. Whereas when we talk about the models under Takaful, you've got a tabarru model, which refers to voluntary contribution, meaning that your participants who we talk about voluntarily contribute to a fund. And it is a fund that allows for profit sharing and allows for Wakala, which is an agency that is allowed to pay for certain functions and certain administration services. The key sort of difference that one will always hear between conventional insurance and that of Takaful is where it eliminates the elements of uncertainty. It removes any form of speculation and gambling, and definitely removes the interest factor, which we refer to commonly in Islam as riba. It removes that interest. And at the end of it, there is a potential distribution of any surplus to participants. Now, we'll talk a little bit later on, hopefully, about some of the benefits and how those surpluses translate into benefits. But effectively, that is the key differences between conventional insurance and the Takaful insurance, where conventional is 100% owned by the insurance company, and whereby the Takaful is sort of owned by its participants and not by an insurance company.
Okay, Sedick, we've been told all along. Okay, firstly, let's just start with life insurance, right? That's a really, I wouldn't even say gray area. It's probably a no from an Islamic perspective, as far as life insurance is concerned. You may correct me if I'm wrong on that matter, but generally when we talk of life, but I'm talking about short-term insurance for houses, cars, and things like that. I personally have been using the Takaful kind of insurance, and through Amana IFA in Johannesburg, who I think are underwritten by Bryte Takaful. And I've had pleasant experiences whenever there's been a claim or whatever. But I certainly haven't had any money back all these years, if there was or a surplus. Perhaps there hasn't been any surpluses for the last many years, and I'm going back maybe more than 10. But the experience has been, yes, great service. Yes, whenever there's a claim, no problem with sorting those out. But certainly not a surplus. So when we talk about premiums and we're paying premiums, would the premiums in conventional insurance be higher or lower in relationship to what one will pay for Takaful?
So to be honest with you, I'd like to answer the other question in terms of the surplus as well, so
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
it is clear to our listeners in terms of the surplus side of things. But just the issue of the cost of Takaful versus the cost of conventional, there is no difference whatsoever in terms of that. The one is not more expensive than the other.
Okay.
Effectively, what happens is that whatever risk is brought towards the pool, what value there is in that risk, the type of risk that is brought to the pool is how a contribution is calculated on the Takaful side and how a premium is calculated on the conventional side. So pretty much the same. So there is really, the one is not more expensive or less expensive than the other. They really on a competitive basis.
So we shouldn't be given the excuse of Takaful, your premiums are higher because it's based on Takaful.
No.
Okay. Great
No,
stuff.
definitely not. Absolutely, definitely not. In fact, we can be equally as competitive as any other type of cover in the marketplace.
Okay, excellent. Okay, you said you wanted to
issue
answer
of
the
surplus.
right.
On the surplus side, from a Bryte perspective, we haven't had a proper surplus, unfortunately, over the last few years. And the reason for that is because of the kinds of claims that we've had over the past couple of years. So what actually happens is in certain years, we've had an excess of claims over income.
Right.
And those then end up in a deficit. And currently, we are still in a deficit based on some of the floods and storms that we had in 2022 and in 2021. We had a number of large claims. So we ended up with a bit of a deficit. The important aspect about that surplus is that any participant in our scheme is entitled to information around the surplus and is entitled to information around what the income is and what the claims is and what the expenses are that have been paid, to be able to be totally transparent to all our participants. So for us, one of the key concepts that we would really, really like to sort of come to at the end of the day is to be able to give back to the to our participants. And if I can just share this one little thing in
Sure.
terms of the fact that we've actually also launched the Takaful in Botswana over the last couple of years. And in this year, we are going to actually give back to the participants because of the fact that there is no deficit and they have actually had a surplus in the last year. So in Botswana, even though it's a very small market, they will be actually seeing a return to them in this current year.
So how does this work? Just is Botswana a pool on its own, and is South Africa a pool on its own, or do you take the different regions in South Africa and also subdivide them into different pools?
No, so there's one pool for South Africa and one separate pool for Botswana because they operate totally independently.
Okay, so if there's an incident in KZN, for example, we've really been hit by natural disasters, flooding, and also we had the whole looting issue, which also cost a lot of people a lot of money. I'm sure it would have had an impact on you guys as well. All of these things, if something happens in KZN, somebody in the Cape gets affected as well.
100%. 100%. It's one pool, yeah.
Okay. You spoke about the deficit. In my mind, if one is going to participate in a surplus, then one should also participate in a deficit, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Can you just kind of expand on those type of issues?
Yeah, sure. So the thing is, when there's a deficit, and this is where Bryte comes into it, the part of the agreement is if there is a deficit in the fund and there are claims that need to be paid, Bryte will meet those claims. But the agreement is that there is no interest charged or payable to Bryte, and it's on an interest-free basis. And that is where, if there's a deficit and the following year there's a surplus, of the surplus is then paid back to cover off some of those deficits. But no interest is charged or payable to Bryte at all. in terms of those circumstances. So that's how we manage the fund in terms of the pool that is created.
So would Bryte be called an insurer or a reinsurer?
Now, Bryte is an insurer.
Okay.
In reinsurance, it's another entity that actually insures the insurer's part of the risk that they carry.
Okay. So one would imagine then and safely say that Bryte has got very deep pockets.
Well, the thing is they have income that is sufficient and strong enough to withstand certain types of events in the market, in the industry, and on an ongoing basis. It also is well capitalized, very strong company, and has got a strong parent company internationally. Yes.
Okay. Sedick, I've got a WhatsApp message that comes in, and I'm just going to read it out for that so you can respond to it. And it says, Salams, what type of investments or equities are the monies of Takaful put into to ensure better returns? Is the investments local or foreign?
So any investments that we do is local, and it is placed in the Islamic banks, and it is certainly placed within Sharia compliant instruments.
Right.
And at the end of the day, what we don't chase is higher income, but to ensure first and foremost that it is Sharia compliant. That is the most important part of the investment side. And so any investments that are done are placed within a Sharia compliant instrument. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Sedick, the risk sharing mechanism, how does that work in a Takaful arrangement?
So in the practice of Takaful, identified risks are shared amongst the Takaful participants. So if one looks at conventional insurance, it's a straight risk transfer mechanism. It goes from an individual to an insurer. In Takaful, it is the participants that share that risk. So no individual or entity is involved in a risk transfer. The concept is around a Takaful operator that is appointed to manage the fund and ensure that the participant contributions are utilized correctly, fairly, and that participants are compensated fairly in the event of loss or damage. Very unlike your conventional insurance, wherein a risk is transferred from the insured to the insurer, and the insurer owns every cent of that premium. With Takaful, the mutual risk is shared amongst participants, and each participant makes a contribution to the Takaful fund, and out of those funds, the participants are then compensated in the event of any losses or damages.
Okay, so if I can use an example of, say, for every rand that is contributed towards Takaful contribution, how would this be divided? Is it divided and put into different baskets? So certain part of it goes towards investment, other parts of it towards more paying out of claims. How would you divide the premiums that you receive?
So there are we work on a sort of a monthly basis in terms of income, financial month, and as well in terms of how we operate with the funds. The funds are obviously all ring-fenced completely within the Sharia compliance aspects. But importantly is that out of those funds, we do have to pay commission to brokers. We do have to pay for administration services, and those are paid on a monthly basis. If there is any funds over on a monthly basis, those funds are placed into an investment account. Okay. And that is done and dealt with on a monthly basis in conjunction with our partners where we bank with, and they ensure that the funds are then made available as it is needed, because as you would understand, with this type of arrangement, you would need to have the funds available in case one needs to pay claims in excess of the income.
Yes, absolutely. Sedick, we're going to go for a short ad break. We have to pay the bills at the studio so that things on our side are also very taken care of in terms of Takaful.
No problem.
And we're gonna go for a short ad break. When I come back to you, we're gonna talk about some of the challenges that you face in the Takaful industry, and then also talk about some of the benefits that the policyholders of Takaful would enjoy as compared to conventional insurance. And then lastly, we can end off by you giving us some contact numbers of people that may be interested in saying, hey, I've been in conventional insurance, but I want to now make my insurance more Islamic, and I want to kind of move it over to a Takaful structure. So we'll talk about all that when we come back, but let's just go for an ad break.
No problem.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. If you've just joined us, welcome to Radio Al Ansar. You with me, Anwar Mullah, and it's the Business Matters program. Yes, if it's a Monday evening, there has to be Business Matters. I wasn't with you last week. I've been traveling a bit, but back in the studio this evening, speaking to Mr. Sedick Isaacs on the concept of Takaful and how Takaful is different from traditional conventional insurance. The number in the studio, if you want to WhatsApp us, 060-904-1056. I repeat that, 060-904-1056. If you want to send us any questions aimed at our guest regarding Takaful, more than welcome to do so, and we'll try to get you some answers. Sedick, thanks for hanging on there for us while we went for an ad break. I want to explore the concept of some of the challenges faced in the Takaful industry. Has the growth and the takeoff been as good as you guys expected when you set this up? And what are some of the other challenges that you face?
So thanks very much for that. So yes, there are definitely challenges in terms of Takaful in South Africa specifically. As you know, Takaful is international as well. It operates internationally across the world. But in South Africa, the challenges that we face, first and foremost, is around consumer awareness. So we find that because of the lack of consumer awareness, there is low penetration into the Takaful space. We are putting in a lot of effort around that in terms of doing a lot of marketing of late in terms of making sure that people get to know more about it. We've partnered with a number of institutions and a number of grassroots level institutions as well, because one of the key things about Takaful as well is that it also embeds itself in the community in terms of this is not about just profit and owning profits and owning incomes. This is about sharing. And it is about sharing with the participants, but it is also important to know that it is also about sharing with the community. And so therefore, what we aim to do, and one of the key objectives and the goals, is to create that awareness amongst the community, to grow it in the community so that the community can also have further and greater benefits out of Takaful. And therefore the importance of consumer awareness cannot be underscored. The penetration rate you touched on, we've done exceptionally well, I must say, in terms of the number of years that it's been with us. We've grown the pool significantly from where it was and where we started. However, the important aspect is that we need to grow it to a sustainable level, whereby we can certainly feel comfortable that the amount of income will sustain the fund on an ongoing and a continuous basis. So far, alhamdulillah, with the blessings of the Almighty, we've run for about 8 years now. And so far it's gone well, but we've helped a lot of people in the process. And even though there hasn't been a surplus, we've managed to help lots of people along the way. There is a deficit still that needs to be cleared, but the most important thing is that many people have actually benefited from that. So, as I said, the key issue for us is consumer awareness. And then other things include things like technology, where we need to step up in terms of technology. And we also need to look at business models in terms of there's new market niches and there's emerging risks that continuously surface. And from our side, we need to look at how do we innovate in terms of business models that one can see that it is sort of complemented by the models of the business, the technology, and then the consumer awareness through the various organizations, institutions that we work with. And importantly, it also needs to, it requires a religious drive where, from a religious perspective, there's also an understanding of the Takaful side and the fact that Takaful is available and that it does serve more than just the purpose of paying for people's claims, etc.
Yes, you spoke on the religious side, and I would think that having a board of Islamic scholars who approved the product would be of great benefit, because members of the community take guidance from these Islamic scholars. So is there a Sharia board of scholars that oversees the product in terms of the Islamic compliance? And would these scholars not be the right people to drive this process of awareness through the community?
You're 100% correct. We have a board of scholars, of 5 scholars that through whom we actually have everything approved in terms of Takaful. And when I say everything, every single thing goes through them. Every communication we do, every billboard that we're putting up, which has been happening recently, goes to them for approval to ensure that whatever is being put out, whatever is being communicated, the way we operate, how we operate with our funds, the bank accounts, all of those things are vetted and audited and checked by the Sharia board. And on an annual basis, they do provide us with a certification to confirm that they have looked at everything and they've approved everything. So yes, absolutely, we work with the Sharia board, and everything that we do, including wordings, covers, finances, everything goes via the Sharia board for their approval.
Would you be happy to share with us who that Sharia board is made up of?
Yeah, there's 3 scholars in Johannesburg, and then look, I don't want to mention names on the air because I don't know whether I'm allowed to do that but there are 3 scholars in Johannesburg. We have 1 in KZN, and then we also have 1 from the Cape. So we've got 5 scholars, and they're represented across the country. So definitely scholars that have the knowledge and the expertise and who have studied Islamic finance.
Being based in KZN, maybe perhaps you just want to share with us who the scholar from KZN is that sits on your Sharia board.
The scholar there is Mufti Zubair.
Mufti Zubair Bryte, I would imagine. That
yes,
okay,
yes.
Excellent. Well-known figure and well-respected. Alhamdulillah, a good person to have on your Sharia board. I want to just, digress a little bit here and say the real need in our community at the moment is medical insurance. And unfortunately, the guys from Roche Gold did something for a while called Roche Med. That has come to an end because they were forced to, I think. But what about providing some sort of medical cover for the community? That's a massive requirement at the moment.
So to be honest with you, my understanding is that there is a current Takaful medical cover available.
Is there?
Yes, that is my understanding. But I am obviously, from my side, I don't deal with anything outside of the short-term side. Homes and cars and commercial, etc. So I don't actually. I'm not involved with anything outside of the short-term side.
Sedick, I'm going to talk to you.
There is.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to you off air, because if there is a Takaful methodology being used for medical cover, then I need to know about it, and I need to get the relevant people on air, because I promise you there's a huge need for that, as you would know.
Sure.
as well. Let's just conclude with some of the benefits of Takaful for policyholders as compared to conventional insurance.
So the benefits, this is quite important actually, because the Takaful pool and the scheme that we have provides for financial compensation to the participants, the individuals who place their risks within the pool. And because it is within that pool, obviously whatever they suffer in terms of any losses or damages are paid out of the pool. So that's the first benefit. You have a pool and any losses are paid out of that pool. It also ensures that the participant does not get more than what his actual amount of loss is, to prevent any undue profits or any excess of one person taking over the other. So that's where the operator comes in. It operates without any form of interest at all, no riba, and avoids investments in any forbidden or haram activities. It is certainly within instruments that are certainly Sharia compliant. Three key things that happens in the event that there is a surplus. The participants in the scheme are entitled to one of two things. Either they can get something back in terms of cash, or they can get a reduction in their contributions. The second thing is that, and it is obligatory, is that if there's a surplus, we must give to charity as well and to support the community. And the third thing is that there could be a rollover just to protect against any future deficits. So the surplus can be utilized in three different ways, but importantly, those three aspects have to come into the utilization of a surplus. The obvious questions that sometimes come up: how much do you get if there's a surplus, or who gets? All of those things are decided by the Sharia board and the management team that oversees the Takaful operations. And certainly it takes recommendations for charitable organizations as well, but it is decided by the two boards that would sit together and look at the circumstances. So the beauty of this is that, it's not just somebody that takes the money and then it becomes the ownership of one individual. This is where it really shares amongst the participants, shares amongst the community. And so what you're contributing has multiple purposes rather than just one single purpose of somebody earning a profit.
Okay, excellent. Sedick, I'm really glad I've spoken to you this evening. Really enlightening. And from my perspective, I promise you, I've been an advocate of Takaful for many, many years, use it myself. And I can see no reason why members of our Islamic faith should stick to conventional insurance when they do have the Takaful available to them at no prejudice to themselves. As you've mentioned, premiums would be the same. They have the opportunity to share in some sort of charity down the line. And also, if there's a surplus, and inshallah there will be in years to come, the chances are you will get some of your money back in the form of a surplus. So my appeal to people would be, explore the Takaful methodology. And if you can, why not move your short-term insurance to a Takaful kind of structure? Having said that, I'm not blowing your trumpet, but can you leave us with some numbers that can be where people can be reached on to explore the concept of Takaful?
Sure. So firstly, Bryte Insurance Company operates throughout South Africa within the 6 different regions in South Africa. And they can contact any of the Bryte offices, and the Bryte people will certainly transfer them and move them to the Takaful operations. At the same time, I'm happy that they can use my number as well. If people want to contact me directly, I'm happy to pass them on as well to the operators within the Takaful space.
I'm going to put that number out now: 082-456-0204. I'm going to repeat that.
That's not my number.
Is that not yours? Okay. I got
No.
Okay, so share your number with us then.
It's 071 671 2606.
Okay, you want to just repeat that for us, please?
Sure. 071 671 2606.
Excellent. Your phone's going to be ringing all day tomorrow, Sedick, I promise you. So, yeah, thanks for spending the time with us. It's been really informative. And inshallah, when you are in our part of the world, please do give me a call and we'll get you back on air and explore the concepts a little bit more fully in the studio.
Inshallah, we'll certainly do that.
Okay.
Thanks
for the wonderful job you're doing, and thanks for bringing out the Islamic concepts. And I've always said to people, if we have the Islamic alternatives, then why not use them?
Alhamdulillah. I'm so pleased that you've had us on the program this evening, and hopefully we've been able to expound and benefit some people in terms of understanding of the Takaful. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Zakaria, if we can go for a short break while I get my guests in the studio seated and comfortable, and then we're going to spend a short time speaking about South Africa and the benefits. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Business Matters on Radio Al Ansar with me, Anwar Mullah, on a Monday evening. We've been speaking to Mr. Isaacs on the question of Takaful, and he's been very informative. And I have two guests in the studio, fresh off the aeroplane, straight into Durban and into the studio. Welcome to Radio Al Ansar, Tom, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. And Virginia, all the way from France, from Lyon, also welcome to Radio Al Ansar, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you to invite me. I'm very happy to be here with you guys.
Okay, excellent. They say ladies first, so let me start with Virginia. Virginia, you've been touring South Africa for the last 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
I had the pleasure of spending some time with you as well at the Mabula Game Reserve last weekend, and it was a wonderful 3 days or 3 or 4 days there seeing some wild animals, and we were fortunate to see a lot.
Yeah.
But you've just come off from Cape Town. You're based in France. You're a French citizen. Your thoughts on South Africa, because we kind of get negative sometimes. So what are your thoughts on South Africa?
Yeah, I was very impressed. First at the airport, because he went so fast and it was so quick to get back my luggage and everything.
Wait, which airport was this in?
It was in Cape Town,
okay.
And we flew back also to Durban. So yeah, the two of them were very, very quick, and I was amazed.
Yeah, I think you had some initial problems with immigration when you got into South Africa.
Yeah,
I
at
think
first.
It took forever.
Yeah, just in Joburg, but because we are coming from France, and we have problem. It spent like 1 hour waiting at the custom.
Okay.
But like it was just the first one, I think, because it's an international one.
Yeah, but they say first impressions are lasting impressions. So our immigration needs to get its act in order to be able to process these guests that are coming in quicker. I know there's a new system in place at the moment where they're doing biomechanics and biometrics.
It's prints, the print the fingers and everything, and I think that's why it's new, and we can feel that.
Yeah, I think maybe as they get used to it, it'll get quicker. But
Sure.
That's something that we need to work on.
Sure.
But your general thoughts on the places that you've visited. You've been to Johannesburg, you've been to the bush, you've been to Cape Town, and now, I mean, you haven't seen much of Durban, you just got here. But your general thoughts so far?
That it's very easy. There is so many things to do at the same time. Like we've been to the bush, and like for France, we don't have this kind of animal in nature. You have them in zoo, so it's very different. And then we've been to the Cape Town,
Right.
and Cape Town also you can do a lot of things. I've been visiting penguins, sharks, a lot of things, and it's different things, and it's very easy, very quick, and I love it so much.
And they say Cape Town is a very beautiful city.
It's very beautiful, yeah, and the people are very nice in the hotel. That they welcome you, they are talk to you very, in a good way, very good way. And then coming to Durban, it's another way of seeing. You have different landscape in same country, So I was very amazed. How big is it?
And I mean, any negativity about South Africa, something that you've come across sometime that can be improved?
I would say it's maybe the road, because there is a lot of road. They renew it, but I think it's for a good thing because they become bigger, and I think it's for a good thing. But at this time, there's a lot of
there's a lot of construction in the urban area as well.
A lot of traffic, and you can see because of the road changing.
Okay. So I mean, you're a well-traveled person. You've been to many parts of the world.
Yeah.
And if you had to relate South Africa to other parts of the world that you've been to and experienced, how would you rate South Africa?
How would I rate it? I would say 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
Yeah,
okay.
I will come back with my family definitively because there is so many things different, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you came with an open mind. You didn't come with any preconceived notions of how bad South Africa is, or the crime and all the negatives, and you haven't been exposed to any of that, fortunately. But your stay has been a very pleasant one. I mean.
For sure. I didn't go out by night or whatever, but I feel safe. It wasn't so difficult for me, as a woman, to walk in the street, to go in the mall, and to visit. I feel safe.
So you're going to be taking back to Lyon a positive message on South Africa, and encourage the people of Lyon to come and visit us, bring their money to South Africa and spend it here, so that our economy is. You
can spend your money because there is so many things to do, and you want to do it. You don't want to go out to come back without doing it. The five big, or a lot of things to do.
And value for money.
Yeah, it's very cheap,
Okay.
Compared to France, it's so cheap. So now it's very interesting to come here, and with the family also.
Okay.
Sure.
Tom, we don't have much time, but I'm quickly going to quiz you. I mean, you very, very well traveled. You've lived in America for many years, besides living in Taiwan and in China. But you've traveled extensively. This is not your first trip to South Africa. You've been here about 9 years ago, you said to me. And in that 9-year period, what type of changes have you seen that maybe you want to share with us?
Well, there's lots of changes. I don't know where to begin, but I would say the most important change is I see that the people has grown to another level.
Okay.
Right? They are more charismatic. They have they have their character, and it's a good thing to see that South African people are actually moving towards try to improve themselves much better. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you're involved in business internationally, and do you see the potential in South Africa from a business perspective?
Oh yeah, I see great potential for South Africa. And I think South Africa is on the verge of catching the fast train to going up in the world stages. There are some minor twitches that needs to be done, but they are really, really close. And if you can just catch on those things, then South Africa is going to fly. Yeah.
Okay. You've done some interesting things on this trip. You were mentioning to me earlier that you were in Hermanus and you did shark cage diving.
Yes,
so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's it was a venturous thing that we wanted to try, and we wanted to be a little bit different from normal people. And I know it's cold, but we did it, and it was great. I mean, I loved it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of South Africa, what would you think is your favorite city? And you've just been to the Cape, and everybody raves about the Cape.
Yeah.
A lot of people come to Sun City, but you didn't go to Sun City.
No.
And you haven't seen much of Durban. But on your previous trips as well, you have been extensively in South Africa.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite city in South Africa?
I mean, everybody's going to say their favorite city is going to be Cape Town. Yeah. But I see big potential for Durban. Actually, I see great potential for Johannesburg as well. Okay. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, I would say my favorite city would be Durban. Even though I didn't see much.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I see the most potential. Yeah.
You see the most potential, Durban.
Yep.
So I think we've got some great stuff happening in Durban. We've got, a new hotel development that's coming in the Tinley Manor area. We spoke to somebody about that earlier today. A massive influx of tourists expected when that happens, and should be from 2026 onwards.
Yeah, the
Club Med hotel that's coming up there, and that will lead to many positive spin-offs, including additional flights to South Africa, we hope for. And that tourism will grow, obviously. We have the Drakensberg, which you haven't seen, but that's a magnificent mountain holiday for people that come to Durban, not far away, 2 to 3 hours away. So you've been to many cities around the world. What would you rate as your favorite country / city, and then where would South Africa place in that?
I spend actually a good majority of my life now in Shanghai, China.
Right.
And I have seen the progresses that it came from. I mean, I was there when they were still not very developed, very similar to South Africa today. And I've seen all their progresses where, what did they do wrong, and what items they catch to be on the fast train and to be developed. And I think South Africa really has the potential to be there as well. So, I mean, we hope, that we're going to do,
Virginia, some parting comments from you for the listeners of Radio Al Ansar on South Africa in general. I say some parting comments from you for the listeners on South Africa. Should we be positive about this country?
Yeah, be very positive. And you mean the same things.
Okay, excellent. Tom, Virginia, thanks for visiting us.
Thank you very
thanks
much
for coming in.
Yeah.
Okay, and we wish you well for the rest of your tour, and come back to South Africa. We'd love to have you again.
For sure, we will.
We will come back for sure.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you so much.
Our time is run out. It's just turned 8 on Radio Al Ansar. Time for the news again. So from me, Anwar Mullah, till we meet again next week on another Business Matters program. It's wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Radio Al Ansar, Durban, South Africa.